Here we go! You just arrived home from a long day of work and tuned into the Riddles show on your TV. Take a look at this scene. Who do you think has the best chance at survival? The two guys look pretty stuck in there, but the woman on the right might have a chance. The rope looks a bit loose around her body. She could try to shake it off and then use her free hands to untie her ankles. Which one of these definitely isn't human? It's the guy on the left. If you look closely, you'll see that the skin around his eyes is green. Take a look at these three guys. Which one of them is going on a date tonight? It must be the guy in the middle. He's holding a chocolate box in the shape of a heart. It's wrapped with a bow and everything. Alice, Beth, Cece, and Diana are standing in line to get a new video game. Alice is standing between Beth and Cece. Cece is in front of two people, and Diana is standing in front of her. Can you say the exact order in which the girls are standing? Let's see, there are four of them. If Cece is standing in front of two people, and Diana is in front of her, then Diana is the first in line. Cece is the second one. Then Alice is standing between Beth and Cece. So the third person is Alice, and the last one is Beth. There are 10 students in the class. 6 of them learn French. Oui, oui. 7 of the students in the class learn Spanish. Olé! If every student learns at least one foreign language, how many students learn both French and Spanish? This is pretty simple math. 6 plus 7 equals 13. If there are only 10 students in the class, that means that 3 students are learning both French and Spanish. A police officer was following a robber around the city. Suddenly, the criminal rushed toward a hospital and disappeared. When the police officer entered the building, he saw 3 people. One of them must be the robber, who had dressed up pretending to be a doctor. Can you tell who the criminal is? It's the girl on the left. Look at her shoes. They're dirty. She probably didn't have time to clean or change them. Theo was getting ready for a job interview when the lights in his apartment went off. He was in a rush and didn't have time to wait for the lights to come back on. He was almost ready. He only needed to put on his socks and boots. Theo had socks of 3 different colors: black, white, and gray. He didn't care what color his socks would be, but he needed 2 socks of the same color. How many socks should Theo take to make sure there would be at least one matching pair? He just needs 4 socks. Even if the first 3 socks are different colors, the 4th sock will probably be either black, white, or gray, matching one of the others. Devin takes showers every day, but on even days of the month, he takes a long bath. During 1 year's time, how many baths does he take? Well, let's see. Except for February, all months have 30 or 31 days. In each month, there are usually 15 even days. For starters, we should multiply 15 by 11, which gives us 165 days. If we count February as having 14 even days, then the total number of baths Devin takes in a year is 179. This is Allison, and one of these 3 men is her boyfriend. Can you tell who? It's the guy on the left. Look, they have matching tattoos. Bella landed in New York with a very ambitious career goal. But first thing she needed to do after arriving in the city was to find her apartment. There were many options to get from the airport to her apartment, but Bella decided to save money and go by bus. She had to purchase a ticket for $10, but a handsome guy popped out of nowhere and offered her a better deal. He said his plans had changed and he didn't need his bus ticket anymore. He offered to sell it to her for $6. Bella agreed and gave him the money, but it turned out to be a big mistake. Why? Take a look at the current date on the screen of the vending machine. And now check the date on the ticket. The ticket the man sold Bella expired over a month ago. Finally, Bella managed to arrive in Manhattan and find her apartment. She was sharing a house with 3 other women. Bella introduced herself to them and went to settle in her room. She left her belongings on her bed and went to take a shower. When she stepped out of the shower, Bella noticed that her laptop was missing. She got furious and decided to interrogate all of her new roommates. Sarah said she had gone out to get a cup of coffee. She even told Bella to ask the doorman of their building since he had seen her leave. Kelly said that she had taken an afternoon nap with her headphones on. She said she hadn't heard or seen anything strange going on inside the apartment. Shannon said that she had gone to the building's rooftop to take some pictures of the city, since she was a professional photographer. Can you tell who's lying here? It's Shannon. If you notice the sign on the lobby, the building strictly prohibits people from accessing the rooftop. Henry was backpacking through Italy by himself. One evening, around 8 p.m., he got very hungry and decided to look for a cozy restaurant to have some dinner. He walked into a traditional restaurant, only to find a customer and a waiter arguing over something. The customer was saying that he had ordered tomato soup, while the waiter was saying that he had only ordered a hot chocolate. Henry saw something that immediately showed him who was lying. Can you find out too? The customer is lying. Behind him, there's a huge sign that says the restaurant only serves soup from 1 to 4 p.m. Since it was 8 p.m. in the evening, the waiter would have never accepted the customer's order in the first place. These are Julia and Maria. They are both very attractive young women who have no trouble finding boyfriends. Today is Valentine's Day, and they're both going out with their loved ones. One of them is currently dating 3 people, though, so she's probably going to run from date to date. Just by looking at this image, can you tell which one it is? It's Maria, the one on the left. If you look at her workstation, she's got 3 presents lined up, one for each person she's currently seeing. Hey, who am I to judge? Dave, an archaeologist, traveled to Egypt on a very special mission. He spent days excavating ruins hidden under miles of sand, and the only thing he found was a coin marked 10 BCE. When he showed it to his colleagues, they told him the coin was a fake. Why? Well, because the designation BCE didn't appear until the beginning of our era. Take a look at this image. Can you figure out which doctor is fake? It's the guy on the left. He's got headphones wrapped around his neck. Something's not right there. Harry and Terry's girlfriends went away on a business trip for the weekend. During the whole time, the couples were texting and sending each other pictures. On Sunday morning, both girlfriends asked their boyfriends to send a selfie of where they were. Harry sent a selfie smiling inside the kitchen. Terry sent a selfie of himself in the bathroom. One of the girls knew immediately that their boyfriend was cheating. Who was the cheater, and how did the girlfriend know? It was Harry. Look at the lipstick mark on the glass on the top of the kitchen counter. Uh-oh.
Hey, here's another opportunity to train your brain and sharpen your logical thinking skills. Don't miss out on it.
Yeah.
Liam was a doctor from Chicago. Once, he asked his boss to let him attend a medical conference in Berlin. The boss let Liam go but asked him to send a photo report as soon as he got to Europe. The next day, the boss received a message from Liam that said, "Hello from Germany. That's me right now." A photo was attached to the message. After looking at it, the boss realized Liam had lied to him. How did he figure it out? In the photo, there's a clock on the wall that shows exactly the same time as the clock in the boss's office. If Liam was in Germany, the clock would show a different time because of the time difference. A bit of math for you. Can you figure out what comes next in this sequence of numbers? It's gonna be this long number. You see, each next number is a verbal representation of the number before it. This way, if we start with 1, the next number in the sequence will be 1, 1. And the next one is 2 ones. And then we've got 1, 2, 1, 1, and so on. Look at this picture attentively. The guy has sent a message to his girlfriend. He seems to be missing her very much, but is it true? Can you figure out if he might be cheating on her? Yes, unfortunately he is. Look at this napkin. There's a lipstick print on it. He must be with another girl. Once, a man came to a police station. He said he'd been robbed on his way to the bank. He was carrying a briefcase with a big sum of money when a man wearing a black mask and gloves attacked him. The robber snatched the briefcase and ran away. The police officer listened to the man and asked him about a fresh cut on his right cheek. The man replied that it was from a ring the criminal had been wearing. After these words, the policeman immediately knew the man was lying. How did he realize it? Are you as attentive as the police officer to figure it out? The man couldn't know about the ring on the robber's finger, since he claimed that the criminal had been wearing gloves. Turn me on my side, and I'm everything. Cut me in half, and I'm nothing. What am I? I'm the number 8. On my side, I look like an infinity symbol. And cut in half, I'm just 2 zeros. Look at these people very attentively. Your task is to find out which girl the man is interested in. Remember that the answer here lies in the details. And this puzzle can tell us how good you are at reading people. Our body language can tell other people a lot about us. The way you sit, stand, and even move your arms can give away what you're thinking about or how you feel. The girls in the picture have different postures and facial expressions. And once we look closely, we will understand that the man is clearly interested in the girl who is most interested in him. But which one is it? The second one from the left. Her feet are pointed towards the man, and we can say the same about his feet. While girls number 1 and 3 are looking at the man too. They aren't into him all that much. Their feet and body language give it away. A wealthy old man didn't have a will, so he ordered his sons to race their horses, and the one whose horse would be slower would receive his inheritance. The two sons realized that they would be unable to race since they would be both holding their horses back. So they went to a wise man and asked him what they should do. After listening to his advice, the brothers started racing at full speed. What did the wise man tell them? He recommended switching horses. Now, whoever wins the race will get the inheritance because they will technically own the losing, slower horse. 4 people came to a river with a narrow bridge that could only hold 2 people at a time. It was nighttime, and they had just one torch that had to be used when crossing the bridge. Person A needed 1 minute to cross the bridge, and person B could do it in 2 minutes. It took person C 5 minutes to get to the other side, and person D needed 8 minutes. If 2 people were crossing the bridge together, they had to move at the slower person's pace. Can all these people get across the bridge within 15 minutes or less? Yes, they can. Let's see how it can be done. First, person A and person B cross the bridge, and then person A brings the light back. It takes 3 minutes. Next, person C and person D cross the bridge, and person B brings the light back afterward. It takes another 10 minutes. And finally, person A and person B cross the bridge again. This takes another 2 minutes. In total, we've got 15 minutes. Recently, Mark had been feeling some discomfort in his knees, so he decided to go to the doctor. After examining the man, the specialist gave him a piece of paper, saying, "Here's the solution," and then he left the room. What was written in the note? What did the doctor mean? The treatment is a painless operation. The missing letters spell out pain. Thus, Mark should have a painless operation. Thomas was talking with his colleague, and she asked him how many kids he had. He answered that he had 3 children, and she asked him about their ages. Thomas replied, "The product of their ages is 72, and the sum of their ages is the same as my house number." His colleague was confused. The next time she was invited to Thomas's house, she paid attention to his house number, and still, she couldn't figure out the kids' ages. Tom decided to help her. "Oh, that's right, I forgot to tell you the oldest one likes chocolate pudding." And after that, his colleague figured out the ages of the 3 children. Have you understood how old they are? The kids are 3, 3, and 8. The key to this riddle is the colleague knows the sum of the children's ages, but she still can't tell how old Thomas's children are because she is stuck between several possibilities. To narrow it down further, only 2 sets of numbers that multiply to 72 share the same sum. And that's when the man reveals that his oldest child likes chocolate pudding. Only the latter of these 2 sets has a distinct oldest child. Imagine that you're in a dark room. There's a candle, a wood stove, and a gas lamp there. You only have 1 match. What do you light first? First of all, you'll need to light the match. These 5 bags of gold all look identical. Each of them has 10 gold pieces in it, but one of the bags contains fake gold. The real gold and fake gold are identical in every way, except the weight. Each piece of fake gold weighs 1.1 ounce, while a piece of real gold weighs 1 ounce. You have a perfectly accurate digital scale, but you can use it only once. How can you determine which bag has the fake gold? You should take 1 gold piece from the first bag, 2 from the second bag, 3 from the third bag, 4 from the fourth bag, and 5 from the fifth bag. If the number on the scale ends in 0.1, you'll know the first bag contains the fake gold. If the number ends in 0.2, then the fake gold is in the second bag, and so on.
Anna and Barbara are cleaners at a fancy hotel. The hotel manager received a call saying that one of them had stolen precious jewelry from one of the clients. Now, look at the image. Can you figure out who did it? It was Anna. If you look closely, there's a shiny diamond inside that cleaning bucket. Uh-oh. Inside a high-security prison, 3 men were eager to escape. The first one was trying to break the cell bars. The second one was working out every day to get strong. The last one was quietly reading a book. One of these prisoners came from the future. Can you tell who? It's the one reading the book. He knows none of the other prisoners are going to make it. By reading books, he might get an answer on how to escape. And even if that doesn't happen, at least reading will help him stay on track until he gets out of there. Ben and Paula were watching a riddle channel at home. They got into a heated discussion about who would survive such a dangerous prank. Take a look at the image. Who do you think has the biggest chance at survival? It's the lady with the snakes. I know that sounds dangerous, but the snakes are small and not poisonous. Dan enrolled in a photography class. For his latest assignment, he needed to take a landscape picture and present it to the class. But Dan didn't have time to do the assignment, so he decided to Photoshop an image and show it in class. The teachers and students immediately saw that the picture wasn't real. How could they tell? Well, because the image has 2 suns. That's not natural. At least not on planet Earth. Maybe Tatooine. Otto decided to take a chance on online dating. After a few days, he started talking to Mandy. They got along pretty well and decided to meet in person. They agreed to meet in Mandy's favorite cafe. She told Otto that she would be using a couple of red hair clips and it should be easy for him to find her. But as soon as Otto arrived there, 3 women were using red hair clips. They were in fashion apparently. So take a look at the image. Can you help Otto find Mandy? Let's see. Mandy is the woman at the first table. She's the only one wearing a pair of hair clips. The woman on the left is using 3 clips, and the other is wearing just 1. Betty walked into a cafe and ordered a cappuccino. But the cashier told her it was her lucky day. He would give Betty her cappuccino for free if she managed to answer a riddle correctly. The cashier said there were 2 buckets filled with water all the way to the top. The buckets had equal height, but the temperature of the water inside the first bucket was 25 degrees Celsius, while the second bucket it was 25 degrees Fahrenheit. If a person dropped the coin inside both buckets at the same time, which coin would hit the bottom of the bucket first?
Uh-oh.
Jenny took a few minutes to answer the riddle, but she got it right. Can you guess what she answered? She said it would hit the bottom of the first bucket first. It had to do with the state of the water in each bucket. At 25 degrees Celsius, the water is liquid, while at 25 degrees Fahrenheit, it turns to ice. Amy lives in a cozy townhouse with 3 roommates, Jill, Alice, and Nora. Take a look at these 4 bedrooms. Can you tell which one belongs to Amy? Let's go one by one, eh, Sherlock? In the first room, there's a comb with some green hair stuck to it. Nora's the one with the green hair, so that must be her room. Then, in the room to the right, there's a single red sock under the bed. Take a look at Jill's feet. She's missing that same sock. That must be her room. In the room right under this, there's a yellow jacket hanging on the chair, and Alice is wearing the same colored pants. It looks like the 2 pieces are a suit, right? That leaves the last room, with this huge letter A poster hanging on the wall. That must be Amy's room. Whew, that took some work. Annie was locked inside a room with 4 doors. On each door, there was a symbol of a creature hidden behind it. On the first door, there was a small dragon. On the second, there was a couple of vampires. On the third door, there was a mummy. And on the last door, there was a werewolf. One of the doors would open in 1 minute, but Annie didn't know which one. She had 3 different items she could use to protect herself: an axe, a torch, or an aspen stake. She needed to choose one that would help her fight any of the monsters. Which one should she choose? Her best option would be to choose the torch. The torch's fire can scare off any of the creatures and protect Annie. Olivia was running a marathon. Right before the finish line, she did her best and outran the person who was running in second place. The woman was happy and excited that she was going to win, but in a few seconds, she was very disappointed. Why? Because Olivia finished in second place when she wanted to finish first. This is what happened. She was fast enough to outrun the person who was going to win second place, but she wasn't fast enough to outrun the person who finished first. But hey, it's a good result anyway. Cheryl ran into her house extremely worried. She told the police officer she took off as soon as she heard the news. She was at her parents' house in another town and wanted to know what had happened to her husband while she was away. The officer said that someone had hurt Mr. Brown and that he ended up in the hospital. He said Mr. Brown was going to be okay, but he still needed to find out who had done this to him. The police officer had questioned 3 suspects so far. Mr. Brown's secretary said that she was sent to visit Mr. Brown's business partner in the morning because important documents needed to be signed. The house cook said he hadn't left the kitchen the entire day, since Mr. Brown had asked him to prepare a meal for him and his wife. And the housekeeper said that she hadn't heard anything. She spent the day doing chores. The officer realized who the culprit was in no time. Can you figure out who did it too? It was the cook. Mr. Brown probably didn't ask him to cook anything for his wife since she was out of town all along. These are Julia and Maria. They are both very attractive young women who have no trouble finding boyfriends. Today is Valentine's Day, and they're both going out with their loved ones. One of them is currently dating 3 people, though, so she's probably going to run from date to date. Just by looking at this image, can you tell which one it is? It's Maria, the one on the left. If you look at her workstation, she's got 3 presents lined up, one for each person she's currently seeing, who, I'm just guessing here, probably don't know about the others. Police officer Dave received a call late one night. A famous chemist went missing from his lab. After searching the lab thoroughly, Dave found a note with random numbers scribbled on it. The note read 26 3 58, 28 27 57 6. It took Dave a while to figure out the hidden message. The clue was on the periodic table. Can you figure it out? The chemist was smart. Each number on the note corresponds to an element in the periodic table. So the element that corresponds to the number 26 is Fe, or iron. The number 3 is Li, lithium. And 58 is Ce, cerium. Using this logic, the first line is spelled Felice. By the same logic, the second line is spelled out Nicholas. After discovering the names, Dave tracked the 2 men down and arrested them.
Jules is participating in a space mission to Mars. The captain gives her a task to decorate the spaceship. Write something on a wall that makes a person sad when read in good times, and also makes one happy when read in sad times. It took a while, but Jules nailed it. What did she write? Nothing lasts forever. This is it. Jules and her fellow astronauts enter the spaceship and take their seats. Before the launch, Jules has to take care of one last thing. It's under you when it's whole. It shifts above you when you remove the first letter. It's all around you if you remove the second letter as well. What is it? A chair. It's time to start the mission. The captain needs to enter a secret 4-digit password to launch the spaceship. He wrote a little hint on his arm in a secret language. Can you crack the code? All we need to do is to count the number of intersections between the lines, and the code is 2, 5, 4, 8. Jules enters a room with 4 similar sleeping capsules. She needs to wake up her fellow astronaut, Josh, but she doesn't know where he is. There are 4 people sleeping in these capsules at the moment: Josh, Astrid, the physicist, Phil, the doctor, and Leo, the cook. Phil's capsule is next to Astrid. The person sleeping in the first capsule is a doctor. Also, Josh is not sleeping next to a physicist. Where's Josh? Easy peasy. Josh can only be sleeping in the 4th capsule. Jules and Josh enter the Starship Bridge. Can you find anything weird here? Look out the window. Birds don't fly in outer space. It's breakfast time. Jules goes to the dining room. Oh no! Someone finished the last tube with her favorite peanut butter.
Really?
Jules questions 3 suspects. Josh says, "I didn't do it. I'm allergic to all kinds of nuts." Astrid says, "I woke up, brushed my teeth, and came here. I don't know what's going on." Leo says, "I prepared food for everyone and left my post for 2 minutes to visit the restroom. Sorry, I didn't notice any signs of a break-in." Who's lying? It's unlikely that a person with allergies could be sent on a space mission. Therefore, Josh is lying. The spaceship has a garden and a special lab that stores samples of different plants from Earth. Tonight, someone broke into the system and destroyed a couple of very important plants. The lab is protected by a special passcode, so Jules suspects that it might be one of their robots. Cameras in the lab have been broken before the incident, so she can't see any visual evidence. Can you help Jules find the guilty one among these 6 robots? Take a closer look at this robot. His light bulb is broken and its fragments lie under the broken CCTV camera. So he's the one who sabotaged the lab work. Thankfully, Jules manages to restore the plants, and soon they receive a solid harvest. Can you spot anything odd in this picture? Money doesn't grow on trees. Jules picks a lot of apples in the lab garden. The crew cannot eat so much at once, so she decides to preserve them. On the eve of canning, Jules finds out that someone has stolen all the fruits.
Oh no.
She questions the crew members. Leo says,
Why would I sabotage the mission? I'm the cook, so it's my job to manage food supplies.
Josh says, I saw a couple of apples floating in outer space the other day. I took a picture, but I didn't do it. And Astrid says, I was sick yesterday, so I spent all day in bed. I didn't touch any food, including apples. Who's lying? Astrid. She said she didn't touch the apples, but there's an apple core in her pocket. Later that day, Jules receives an emergency message from Josh. Can you help her crack it? Mathematically, this riddle doesn't make any sense. But if we cut the upper half of the whole expression, we'll get the phrase, I love you. The next morning, Jules goes to check the garden. She spots a creepy monster and reports the emergency to the captain right away. Can you spot the monster too? Over here. Jules tries to catch the monster, but he manages to escape from her. This creature is a shapeshifter, so he turns into one of the crew members. Jules interrogates the suspects. The captain says, I was video chatting with my family in the cabin. I didn't see any monsters. Josh says, I heard loud noises from the corridor, but I couldn't leave my post. Dr. Phil says, I'm having back pain, so I was doing exercises in the gym. Who's the monster? Phil, take a look at his palms. Both of them are left. This monster seems to have a poor understanding of human anatomy. Jules puts the monster in a cage, and now her task is to find the real Phil. Crack this rebus to help her figure out his location. Toilet. Jules finds Phil, and thankfully, he's okay. But there's something wrong about this place anyway. Can you spot what exactly? There are too many hands on the clock. Finally, Jules and her team land on Mars. They're greeted by 5 local residents who don't seem to speak human languages. Can you figure out who's the boss here? All 5 guys are wearing some kind of crown, so it's hard to tell who's the king. But if we take a look at their shoes, we'll see that only the 4th guy is wearing shoes different from everyone else. He must be someone special. Jules jumps from a spaceship without any parachute and survives.
Oh my god.
How come? The spaceship wasn't flying, it was on the ground. Jules takes a tour of the local Interplanetary space station. There, she sees a deaf Earthling who came over to pick up a pre-ordered part for his ship.
Oh.
How did he explain what he wanted to the delivery service? He just said it. He's deaf, but we didn't say that he was mute. Jules accidentally steps on a local resident's foot. On Mars, it's a serious crime, so they immediately arrest Jules and put her in a room with 3 doors. All the doors lead to freedom, but unfortunately, each way hides a dangerous surprise. The first door is guarded by angry dogs. Behind the second door, there is a huge lit firecracker that should burst in 5 minutes. A furious guard with a baton is waiting behind the third door. What would you rather choose? Jules can wait 5 minutes until the firecracker bursts and then walk through the second door. Jules returns to her spaceship and goes to the lounge area to get some rest. Can you see anything weird here? Take a look at the big screen. There's a video screensaver saying, "Welcome to Mars." The mirror should have reversed the letters, but it didn't.
Oh.
Suddenly, Jules hears loud noises from the lab and goes there to check. A glitch made all the robots stand up and walk in a chaotic manner. They can destroy the entire lab. Jules has only one option: turn the robots off. What button should she press to stop them? The inscription that says, "Shut down all robots," has a wire linked with the third button. Jules calls other crew members to help her fix the mess in the lab.
Oh, no.
There are 3 hidden emojis in this location. Can you spot them? This notebook over here is an emoji, just like this telescope and those scales. Jules goes to bed. The next morning, she wakes up in an abandoned space station. She explores the area and comes across 3 tunnels. There's a portal leading to Earth at the end of each tunnel. But there's a twist. Creepy space monsters are waiting in the first tunnel. Venomous scorpions are crawling all over the second tunnel. The third tunnel has motion detectors spraying strong acids that could dissolve any metal. Which way is more or less safe? Jules should choose the second tunnel. She's wearing a spacesuit. It'll protect her from scorpions.
Oh.
Today, we're visiting a truly bizarre university. Keep your eyes wide open and don't trust anyone.
Yeah.
Look at these people. One of them is not a student. Can you figure out who it is? This lady in black is a supernatural creature. Look at the mirror. Both she and her reflection are facing you. It's not possible in the real world. Students at this university aren't exactly known for their honesty. Look, it's midterms, and someone is cheating during an exam. Can you help the professor find this dishonest student? It's this guy. He has answers written on his arm. Thanks to your help, the professor has caught the cheating student, but she's a kind-hearted woman and gives the guy another chance. He needs to solve this riddle to pass the exam. Would you maybe like to help the poor student you've exposed? Keep in mind that this riddle has challenged many intelligent minds, and for good reason. The missing number in the third circle is 225. The numbers in these circles seem to be completely random at first glance. But let's perform some basic arithmetic operations, addition, subtraction, and multiplication, and try to figure out the pattern. We need to follow these steps. Look at the first circle and pair the opposites. The first pair gives us 11. As for the second pair, we need to calculate the difference between the numbers. It's 9. The next step should be finding the difference between the two results and squaring this number. We get 4. Let's do the same for the second circle to make sure that this is a working scheme. And now, let's find the missing number. So, 225 is the answer. The exams are over, and students are celebrating. But the party is kinda shady. Look around. Someone who doesn't belong to this college has sneaked inside. Can you spot the intruder? Look at this young lady. Her feet don't seem to be touching the ground. She must be a ghost. During the holidays, supernatural beings occupied the college, and now they're haunting the students. Even worse, someone has bitten your friend. Which of these people is a vampire? This young man has a t-shirt that looks as if it has some bloodstains on it. But that's just a print. This woman has a whole garlic knob hanging as a necklace on her chest, so she's not a vampire. But look at the man who's drinking some red liquid. I bet it's not fruit juice. He's actually the one we should be aware of. Imagine coming back to your dorm and finding out that your roommate is missing. Plus, everything around you looks kinda suspicious. Strange sounds, weird smells. Is your roommate hiding some terrible secret? Let's look at the sky. See that full moon? Now, pay attention to the walls and the floor of your room. You can notice scratch marks and chunks of fur here and there. That's the answer. Your roommate is a werewolf. After figuring out your roommate's secret, you realize you need to clear your head. You go to a morning pool party. People are swimming, playing around, and having fun. But one of the guests is a mermaid. Can you figure out who it is? This girl just pretends to be a mermaid. She even has matching makeup. This guy is wearing special gloves with membranes between the fingers. The mermaid is actually this girl who's staying as far away from the swimming pool as possible. She's even wearing a raincoat. All because if even a small water droplet touches her skin, she will get her tail. It's time to go back to school, only to find out that one of your professors is possessed. Who is that? This man has red eyes and messy hair, but that's most likely because he's sleep deprived. This woman is unnaturally pale, but she's suffering from food poisoning. Look at that piece of pizza next to her. It sure doesn't look fresh. At the same time, the guy on the right has two shadows instead of one. He's definitely possessed. Okay, now let's move on to something less supernatural, but no less tricky. Imagine having to empty a jar of milk and a jar of water into a bowl. But of course, there are several conditions. You must be able to see the border between the milk and the water. You must be able to separate the milk from the water. And finally, you aren't allowed to use any kinds of dividers to keep these two liquids apart. How can you do it? All you need to do is to pour the water into the bowl first and freeze it. Now all that's left to do is to add the milk. In the city where people are keen on brain teasers and riddles, 4% of people don't list their phone numbers. So if we select 40 random people from the phone directory, how many of them will have unlisted numbers? The answer is 0%. You see, if the numbers of these 40 people are in the phone directory, they're already listed by default. David invited 7 friends to his birthday party. They brought a beautiful big cake, but they couldn't eat it unless it was divided into 8 equal pieces with just 3 cuts. Luckily, they managed to do this and could enjoy the treat. Would you be able to do the same? To fulfill this task correctly, you need to follow the next steps. First of all, cut the cake across the diameter through the middle point. After that, cut the cake horizontally. Now you already have 4 equal pieces. And finally, cut the cake across the diameter, perpendicular to the first cut. There you go, 8 equal pieces and just 3 cuts. Now, look at the poor guy. One of his friends has pulled a paint bucket prank on him. Look at the rest of the people attentively and try to figure out who it was. It was definitely Luke. Look at his pants. There are paint stains there. Now, look at these girls. They're in a dark basement tied with ropes. Who is going to be the first to escape? Most likely, it'll be the first girl. She's got long, beautiful nails. She's bound to have a file to look after them. It can help her cut through the rope. There's been a robbery on the train, and one of these people is hiding the stolen goods. Who can it be? It's this woman. She only pretends to be pregnant. Her belly has a bizarre shape. It's suspiciously square. The police had been looking for Kyle for 2 days. The guy went hiking and never came back. Finally, he was found. Someone had hit him on the head and left him lying in the bushes. Kyle only managed to say, "friend," and lost consciousness. The police officers had 3 suspects, all of them Kyle's friends. Zachary said he spent these last days at work getting ready for a conference. Jeremy told the detectives he'd sprained his ankle and had been in bed for 4 days. And Billy explained that he'd been to New York. The man even showed the police officers his boarding pass. Who's responsible for the accident with Kyle? Billy showed the police just one boarding pass from Chicago to New York. Then how did he get back from New York? His story sounds fishy. Jordan was very late for a job interview, but when he drove up to the office building, he found out there were no free parking spaces. He decided to leave his car a bit farther from the entrance. But even though there were several other vehicles in that area, parking was prohibited there. Luckily, Jordan came up with an idea and didn't get fined. What did he do? He took a parking ticket from another car and put it on his windshield. It looked as if he had already been fined.
Poor Brad finds himself locked in a dungeon of a magical castle. Beats me how he got there, but he just needs to escape as soon as possible. Brad looks around searching for some keys to open one single door. But he only finds these 3 potions. The first one makes you super small, the second potion turns you into a giant, and the third one makes you invisible. Can you help Brad find the correct potion? He should drink the first potion and escape through the keyhole. Brad leaves the dungeon successfully and finds himself in a hallway. Suddenly, he returns to his normal height. Oh no! A creepy guard patrols the area. Brad shouldn't catch his eye. He finds a box nearby and opens it. There's an axe, an invisibility cloak, and some handcuffs. Brad can only choose one thing. Can you pick up the most useful item for his escape? Brad should grab the cloak, blend into the interior, and escape unnoticed. Brad leaves the hallway safely and faces 3 doors leading to the bedrooms of 3 mysterious creatures. The first bedroom belongs to a vampire. He can fly and smell humans for miles. A hungry zombie is dancing all over the second bedroom, and a creepy mummy is living behind the third door. Anyone who sees it gets cursed automatically. Which way is more or less safe? Brad should choose the first door. Take a look outside the window. The sun is shining, which means the vampire is probably sleeping. Brad walks through the vampire's bedroom and finds himself on a balcony. There are 3 windows that he can climb through. The first passage is filled with toxic fog. A dragon is sleeping behind the second window, and venomous snakes are crawling all over the third passage. Can you help Brad pick the correct window? Brad still has his invisibility cloak, remember? So he should just stay quiet and walk through the second passage. Nailed it! Brad enters the library. He spots 3 books: Potions for Beginners, How to Ride Your First Dragon, and The History of Vampires. Can you pick a book that will help Brad escape? We've just seen a dragon, remember? Brad can try to escape from the castle with its help, so he should read the second book. Brad puts on his cloak and returns to the dragon's room. It's awake and ready to fly. Brad manages to climb onto the dragon's back and they rise into the air. Suddenly, the dragon spots its fellow dragon and tries to throw Brad off. Which location is the best for landing? The roof, the bridge, or the well? Brad should land on the bridge because it's the shortest way out. Brad lands on the bridge successfully, but the dragons destroy some parts of it right away. There are fires here and there. Brad should find a way to reach the gates. He looks around hoping to find something helpful. He can choose only one of these 3 items: a rope, a broom, or a tablecloth. What would you suggest? It's a magic castle, remember? Brad should grab the broom and fly over the flames. Brad hears a lady scream from a tower near the gates. It's Princess Elsa. She was imprisoned by the local wicked wizard. The key to her cage is hidden in this messy room. Can you help Brad find it? Hey, over here. Elsa says, "The wizard stole my ruby ring. This magical artifact is super strong. We need to return it as soon as possible. Otherwise, the whole world is doomed." Brad goes to the wizard's workroom, but the door is locked. Can you help him figure out a 5-number passcode to open it? Take a look at the symbols on the door. Each image implies a number. The word frog consists of 4 words, so it implies 4. Cat implies 3, flower 6, and so on. And the code is 43643. Brad enters the workroom. Thankfully, it's empty. Can you find any clues about where the ruby ring might be hidden? There's no window, but curtains are fluttering in the wind. That's because this bookcase on the left is a secret door. Brad enters the secret door and finds a dusty basement with a treasure box. It's guarded by a troll. The troll says, "I'll let you open the box if you manage to crack my puzzle. Listen carefully. I'm not alive, but I grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I don't have a mouth, but I'm afraid of water. What am I?" Can you help Brad solve this riddle? The correct answer is fire. Brad opens the box and grabs the ring. The wicked wizard enters the room and yells at him. Brad starts to run away. He needs to break through this maze to escape from the basement. Can you help him? Here's the only way out. Brad escapes successfully. He returns the ruby ring to Elsa and gives her a ride back to her native kingdom. Can you spot anything odd in this town? This guy is selling meat, not fresh books. Elsa invites Brad to her castle. She wants to throw a party to celebrate her return. But first, she takes a bath. Oh no, her ruby ring is gone again. Elsa left it on a table in her bedroom. Only 3 maids are allowed to enter this room, so Elsa questions them. Helga says, "I was just preparing essential oils for your skin. I didn't look around." Nina says, "I sewed your party dress in your bedroom. Nobody entered." And Diana says, "I was preparing your favorite tea. I didn't see anything suspicious." Who stole the ring? Nobody. It's still in the room. Take a look under the table. Hello? They probably dropped the ring on the floor by accident. The party begins. The local chef puts these 3 dishes in front of Brad. One of them is not safe to eat. Can you guess which one? Take a closer look at this pasta. These little things look like worms, so Brad should probably stay away from this dish. All right, time to dance. 3 ladies approach Brad and invite him onto the dance floor, but only one of them is safe to dance with. Can you figure out who? Take a look at the 3rd lady's reflection in the mirror. She's an old witch under a beauty spell. And the 1st lady doesn't have a reflection, so she's probably a vampire. Therefore, Brad should dance with the 2nd lady.
Oh yeah.
During the dance, Brad accidentally hits an antique vase. It falls and one fragment breaks off. Can you find the broken fragment among these 13 options? Only this piece fits perfectly.
Yeah!
Elsa announces a contest. She's willing to give away a fancy mansion to the one who solves her riddle. What king can you make if you take the head of a lamb, the middle of a pig, the hind of a buffalo, and the tail of a dragon. The head of the lamb is the letter L. The middle of a pig is the letter I. The hind of a buffalo is the letter O, and the tail of a dragon implies the letter N. So, the correct answer is lion. He's the king of the jungle, so it makes perfect sense. Elsa cuts the royal cake. Every guest gets a slice. Brad returns from the dance floor and discovers that someone took a bite of his slice. He questions 3 suspects nearby. Morgana says, "I didn't do it. I'm on a gluten-free diet, so I gave my slice away to my husband." Leonard says, "I count every calorie, sir, so I never eat more than 1 piece." And Franklin says, "Sorry, I didn't look at your cake. I was looking at my beloved Elsa." Who's lying? It's unlikely that a person on a gluten-free diet can eat this dessert. Therefore, Morgana lied. Finally, Brad is leaving this weird kingdom. He needs to tell a 2-word password to the guard at the gates. Here's a hint. You do it every morning. And the password is, wake up. Whew, that was just a dream. Or was it?